Have you ever wondered what options exist when self-care becomes challenging in your later years? Would you immediately consider a nursing facility, or might you explore alternative approaches? Growing older is inevitable, but how we navigate this journey doesn't require following conventional paths. While many consider nursing facilities the default option when independence begins to wane, numerous alternatives exist that might better suit individual preferences and needs. In this exploration, we'll examine 6 compelling narratives of seniors who chose unconventional paths and discovered fresh approaches to living authentically. From intrepid retirees to technologically adept grandparents, these accounts demonstrate that with imagination and proper support, maintaining autonomy, purpose, and happiness remains possible regardless of age. Let's investigate why institutional care might not be your only option and what other possibilities await. Meet Edward, a spirited elder with boundless energy and fierce independence. Throughout his life, Edward has maintained an active lifestyle, rising before dawn for neighborhood strolls, tending his vegetable garden, and enjoying peaceful afternoons with literature. As years passed, Edward's family grew concerned about his declining health and suggested he relocate to an assisted living facility, offering continuous care. Edward, however, remained resolute. Though acknowledging his limitations, he refused to abandon the life he had built. He cherished his morning walks, familiar faces at the neighborhood bakery, and the comfort of his personal space. Despite his family's apprehension, Edward insisted on remaining in his home. He recognized that with occasional assistance, whether from visiting healthcare workers or regular family check-ins, he could continue living authentically. Edward's experience teaches us a valuable lesson. Independence should never be underestimated, regardless of age. While aging presents challenges, it needn't require surrendering personal identity or autonomy. Often, minimal support from family, friends, or community services allows seniors to remain in environments where they feel most fulfilled. Edward may have required additional assistance, but he demonstrated that with appropriate support, independence remains achievable. His story reminds us that nursing homes aren't mandatory simply because of advanced age. Alternatives exist for those willing to think creatively and honor their personal needs. Allow me to present Margaret, a retired educator who spent decades molding young minds. When considering her future living arrangements, Margaret diverged from peers who chose care facilities. Margaret made a courageous decision, relocating to a vibrant retirement community unlike anything she'd previously imagined. Initially, her family expressed concern, questioning why she would leave her comfortable neighborhood for unfamiliar surroundings. Several months later, Margaret's choice proved remarkably beneficial. She discovered like-minded individuals sharing her interests and quickly became an integral community member. Margaret began hosting knitting workshops, a passion she'd always harbored but never pursued during her teaching career. The sense of purpose she gained from instructing fellow residents infused her life with renewed vitality. Margaret wasn't merely existing, she was flourishing. Her journey teaches us that discovering new communities can revitalize our sense of purpose. As we age, though we might feel inclined to withdraw, Margaret demonstrates that surrounding ourselves with understanding individuals who share our passions promotes continued growth. Rather than isolation or settling for institutional care, seek environments fostering connection, contribution, and relationship building. It's never too late to find communities bringing joy, support, and meaning. Margaret found hers and exemplifies how one's best years may still lie ahead. Let me introduce William, a senior who refuses to slow down despite his advanced age. While many contemporaries might prefer quiet domesticity, William rejected this notion. Instead, he chose to spend his golden years as an explorer, traveling globally with his son. Whether wandering through European capitals, hiking Mediterranean landscapes, or investigating ancient ruins, William embraced every opportunity for novel experiences. Most impressively, William avoided luxurious guided tours. He preferred authentic travel, staying in local apartments and modest accommodations, immersing himself in regional cultures and experiencing life as a genuine wanderer. These weren't superficial tourist excursions, but meaningful adventures he'd always dreamed of. yet lacked time for during his younger years. Now, despite his advanced age, William fulfills these dreams, proving age presents no barrier to living fully. His story emphasizes an essential truth. Age remains merely numerical. Advancing years needn't mean abandoning adventure or novel experiences. Many find that later life offers unprecedented freedom and flexibility for exploration previously impossible. William demonstrates that seeking excitement, challenging oneself, and creating memories remains viable regardless of age. Meet Elizabeth, an inspiring woman who refused to let age dictate her independence. Though no longer fully self-sufficient, she firmly opposed moving to an assisted living facility. Instead, Elizabeth embraced technology in ways many seniors might find daunting. Determining to remain home required adaptation, precisely her approach. With assistance from her grandchildren, Elizabeth mastered smartphones, tablets, and smart home systems. She configured voice-activated controls for lighting, security, and climate regulation. When requiring assistance, she could contact family members or medical professionals effortlessly. The true breakthrough, however, was how technology maintained her family connections. Elizabeth utilized video calls to communicate with relatives, watch younger generations grow remotely, and participate in family gatherings from her living room. Her experience teaches us that technology offers tremendous empowerment. Rather than allowing age to restrict her independence, Elizabeth leveraged available tools to maintain control over her environment and preserve strong relationships. She demonstrated that regardless of age, technology bridges the gap to the outside world, enabling continued engagement, activity, and independence. Fear not technological advancement. It might provide the key to living autonomously regardless of age. Consider Thomas, a passionate horticulturist facing a difficult reality. His physical abilities no longer matched his garden's demands. For decades, he nurtured an extensive space filled with diverse flora and produce, his greatest pride. As years advanced, the physical requirements became overwhelming, concerning his family that his beloved hobby might need abandonment. They assumed declining health necessitated relinquishing gardening entirely. Thomas, however, developed an alternative strategy. Rather than forsaking gardening, he downsized his approach. He transformed his expansive garden into a more manageable space, focusing on lower-maintenance plants better suited to his current capabilities. His redesigned garden lost none of its beauty, simply becoming more sustainable. With fewer plants requiring attention, Thomas found satisfaction in simplicity while his garden continued providing joy and accomplishment. His family marveled at how he thrived under this new approach. Thomas's journey reminds us that simplicity often brings equal fulfillment. Aging doesn't demand abandoning beloved activities but adapting them. Whether gardening, artistic pursuits, or other interests, continuing passions remains possible without overexertion. By embracing a simpler, more manageable version of his garden, Thomas discovered that moderation often brings greater satisfaction. Aging doesn't mean surrendering, it means adapting to life's new chapter. Finally, meet Helen, who made a decision many might find surprising, remaining in her family home of many decades. This wasn't merely a house, but the foundation where she raised children, hosted countless gatherings, and built lifelong memories. Despite age-related challenges, Helen couldn't imagine leaving this cornerstone of family history. Her children suggested assisted living, but Helen refused to part with her home's familiar comfort. Rather than relocating, Helen created sustainable solutions. She arranged regular family visits, ensuring necessary support while remaining in her cherished environment. Whether weekly visits from her daughter or after-school stops from grandchildren, Helen maintained meaningful connections. Her home's walls contained generational memories, providing security and continuity no facility could replicate. Helen's experience teaches us that sometimes optimal environments for aging aren't new or unfamiliar, but precisely where we've spent our lives, surrounded by memories fostering safety and belonging. Aging doesn't necessarily require leaving spaces where our life stories have unfolded. For Helen, remaining home transcended logistics. It preserved family heritage and maintained her sense of belonging. Her story beautifully illustrates that the right environment for later years might be where we've always felt at home. Through these 6 remarkable narratives, we've witnessed how aging needn't mean surrendering joy, independence, or purpose. Whether adapting lifestyle, embracing technology, or maintaining family connections, countless approaches exist for authentic living regardless of age. I welcome your reflections, whether you relate to these accounts or have personal experiences, to share. Until we meet again, continue living authentically and exploring all possibilities for your journey.